Hello everyone, this is Siham from the Research and Development Department in Market Equity, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some of the important pairs and instruments and their price movement predictions for the day, which falls on Friday, 8th of October 2021. Let's begin with the US dollar versus the Japanese yen, where in the previous videos we said that in the daily time frame it is moving in a sideways movement between levels 109.10, which is the lower boundary of the sideways movement in the daily time frame, and 111.65, which is the upper boundary of the sideways movement in the daily time frame. Recently, we can see that the pair broke upwards to the upper boundary of the sideways movement in the daily time frame, and by holding above it will support the continuity of the current upwards movement, which will extend to target around level 112.40, then 113 as primary targets in the current upwards movement. If we notice the RSI indicator in the daily time frame, then we can see that by rebounding upwards off of around level 60, it supports the continuity of the current upwards movement. Let's move to the 1 hour time frame, where we can see that the pair has formed a higher low than the previous one and continued to break upwards to level 111.80, which was a previous horizontal resistance level for the pair in the 1 hour time frame, and by breaking upwards to it and holding above it will support the continuity of the current uptrend in the 1 hour time frame, as well as the targeting of around level 112.40, then 113, as we said, as primary targets in the current uptrend. If we notice the RSI indicator in the 1 hour time frame, then we can see that due to it moving above level 70 inside the overbought area, it supports the probability of rebounding down off of around the current levels in order to correct towards around level 111.80, which by retesting it and rebounding upwards off of it will further support the continuity of the current uptrend in the 1 hour time frame. That was it for the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. Let's move on to the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. In the previous videos we said that in the daily time frame the pair is moving in a downtrend, and recently we can see that it rebounded upwards off of around level 0.7170 in order to correct where it is currently being traded around the EMA 50 in the daily time frame, and by rebounding downwards off of it will support the continuity of the current downtrend in the daily time frame, as well as the targeting of around level 0.7170, then 0.71 as primary targets in the current downtrend. If we notice the RSI indicator in the daily time frame, then we can see that by moving around level 50, it supports the probability of rebounding down off of around the current levels in order to continue with the downtrend, since level 50 for the indicator in the downtrend resembles a horizontal resistance level in the daily time frame. Let's move on to the 4 hour time frame, where we can see that recently the pair started to rebound downwards off of around level 0.7315, which resembles a horizontal resistance level for the pair in the 4 hour time frame, and by rebounding downwards off of it and holding below it will support the continuity of the overall downtrend and will continue to target around level 0.7170 as a primary target in the 4 hour time frame. However, due to the formation of a higher low, we can say that there is a probability of breaking upwards to level 0.7315, which, by breaking upwards to it, will support the ending of the current downtrend in the 4 hour time frame and will begin a new uptrend in the 4 hour time frame that will continue to target around level 0.74, then around level 0.7475. However, by holding below level 0.7315, as we said, will support the continuity of the overall downtrend for the Australian dollar versus the US dollar and will continue to target around level 0.7170, then around level 0.71 as primary targets in the overall downtrend. If we notice the RSI indicator in the 4 hour time frame, then we can see that by rebounding down off of around level 60, it supports the continuity of the current downtrend. That was it for the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Let's move on to the silver. In the previous videos we said that in the weekly time frame, the silver is moving in a sideways movement between levels 21.60, which is the lower boundary of the sideways movement in the weekly time frame, and 29.85, which is the upper boundary of the sideways movement in the weekly time frame. Recently, we can see that the silver is starting to rebound upwards off of around the lower boundary of the sideways movement around level 21.60, which, by rebounding upwards off of it and holding above it, will support the continuity of the sideways movement in the weekly time frame, as well as the targeting of around level 25.40, then 29.85 as primary targets in the current sideways movement. If we notice the RSI indicator in the weekly time frame, then we can see that by moving around level 40, it supports the continuity of the upwards movement. Let's move over to the 4 hour time frame, where we can see that the silver rebounded downwards off of around level 22.85, which resembles a horizontal resistance level for the silver in the 4 hour time frame, and by holding below it and breaking down through level 22.20 will support the continuity of the current sideways movement in the 4-hour time frame, which is inside the overall downtrend in the daily time frame, and will continue to target around level 21.60. However, as we said, this scenario is only confirmed upon the breaking down through level 22.20. On the other hand, due to the breaking upwards through the previous downtrend line in the 4-hour time frame, as well as retesting level 22.20 multiple times without being able to break down through it, there is a probability of breaking upwards to level 22.85, which resembles a horizontal resistance level, as we said, for the silver in the 4-hour time frame, and by doing so will support the ending of the previous downtrend and will therefore start a new uptrend in the 4-hour time frame for the silver, which will continue to target at least the upper boundary of the downwards channel in the daily time frame. If we notice the RSI indicator in the 4-hour time frame, then we can see that by rebounding downwards off of around level 50, it further supports the continuity of the current sideways movement in the 4-hour time frame and the overall downtrend in the daily time frame, which, as we said, will only be confirmed upon the breaking down through level 22.20. That was it for the silver. Market Equity wishes you successful trading and have a nice day.